Custom GPTs. Are we talking about the next land rush? And today we're going to get in deep on this topic. Yeah, you may have heard of ChatGPT, but have you heard of custom GPTs? And this is incredible. You can create programs with absolutely no knowledge and then use those programs to do either lead generation, solve problems, and potentially make money. And that's really what we're going to get into today. If you're listening to this show on podcast or on the YouTube channel, you might not know this, but this is actually a live show. We do this show every Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern, and we do it on Clubhouse. You can join by simply going to the app Clubhouse, searching for Startup Club, and you can join us on stage every Friday. Yes, it's a live show. And today we're going to be doing a live show talking about custom GPTs and AI and how they can impact your startup. Or if you wanted to, you could use custom GPTs and AI to actually start a business. That's what we're talking about. And you don't need sophisticated technology, programmers, coders. All you need to do is know how to ask questions. And if you've ever filled out a form or you've ever written an email, that's how easy it is to create a custom GPT. Now, let me talk to you a little bit about Startup Club. We have almost 1 million members. If you're not a member of Startup Club, go on over there, check it out at www.startup.club. You can see that we have a number of articles, a number of Forbes published articles that we list on the site. We have about 140 episodes on the site. Hello, Shadow. How you doing? Shadow just joined us. She's one of our attendees who comes very often. So we have about 150 episodes on startup.club, and we have a number of articles, and we have something that we've just added called Ask AI. If you go to Ask AI and you click on Ask AI, you're able to ask a question, and the response that comes back with is directly from the book. So it's going to first cut from the book. Now, what book am I talking about? I'm talking about the number one bestseller, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed happens to be the same name of this podcast. That book we have put into the AI, and you can now ask it any question and it will respond. And I'm going to show you two ways to interact with the book without actually buying the book, but actually interact with the book. Though we do appreciate when you do purchase the book, and it is a lot of fun reading the book. Before I get distracted, but if you do go to the Ask AI, you click on that button, it'll give you an excerpt from the book. And then it will also show you some videos related to that particular topic, and then also connect you to the podcasts that were associated with the topic that you asked for. So if you're asking to exit your business, you could type that, how do I exit my business? And it will actually come back with a response that will show you an excerpt from the book. It'll show you a video that we do these short videos, and it will also show you the podcast associated with the term exit. And so you could really narrow in on a particular topic, and that's what we're trying to do at Startup Club, is harness the power of the community. This is an incredible club. It's been an incredible journey over the last 2 years, putting all of this together on the site and having it come together with the AI. And by doing that, everyone can access the AI in different ways. Again, if you haven't already done so, join the club. There's an email list that you can join. And I think, Mimi, we've pretty much booked up all of September with authors. We're now booking October for authors and serial entrepreneurs, interesting guests. Um, and we'll have them on as well next week. So I'm looking forward to that. Sorry, not next week. Having them on in September, October. We do have a pretty aggressive schedule this summer as well. I know there's a couple of days we're taking off, and if we do come to the site Startup Club and you see that it's canceled, it's only canceled for that week. It's still open the following week. But today we're talking about custom GPTs. Is it the new land rush? Is this, I am so excited about this. I'm so I haven't felt like this, Shadow, since ChatGPT launched 18 months ago. Like, I truly believe that we are on the precipice of another great paradigm shift. And I also know that a number of you would say, "Well, wait a minute, hold on, Colin. They haven't really opened it up to everyone. Yes, everyone can access it, but you have to set up an account. And even when you set up a free account, you get limited access. It lasts for about five to 10 minutes." I was on the forums this morning, OpenAI forums, talking about this particular issue, and it's pretty clear that they're going to open this up to a number of they're going to open this right up. We're experiencing some interesting weather here in Fort Lauderdale during the show. It looks like we may have some internet issues. So if I'm coming in and out, Michelle or Mimi, let me know. But does it sound okay?
Yeah, it sounds okay, but I'm sure people have seen it's. We've had a deluge of rain, and it's quite bad. We're actually downtown, but I think we're going to soldier through this, Colin. I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. Then yeah, I just noticed I'm not even on Wi-Fi. I'm using the cellular network. But yeah, so ChatGPT. So not since we've seen the advent of AI itself. When I say AI, I mean the Chat 3.5, the one that really made it mainstream. Have we come to a point in time where there could be an opportunity for entrepreneurs, for startups to launch custom GPTs, find ways to monetize them? And today, if you're in the audience and you've created a custom GPT, raise your hand right now. We really want you on stage. We want to hear about your custom GPT. It's fine. We're going to allow you to promote it, right? If you want to promote your custom GPT, this would be the time to do it. Get on stage and talk to us, show us what you're doing. If you've got some tips and tricks that you use for your custom GPT, and how you put it together and how you monetize it, we'd also like to hear about that as well. And if you have a question for myself or Michelle around this topic, we're happy to answer. And I've got about 8 or 9 tricks and tips, Michelle, that I'd like to share with the community. But we'll open it up to other people first. I see our friend Jason's joining in right now. Um, Before we do that, though, Michelle, like, am I crazy? Like, do you think that let's just dissect my thoughts for a second. Like, do you really believe that? Do you really, are you smoking what I'm smoking? Are you drinking my Kool-Aid? Like, are you in the zone I am when it comes to this concept? See, I believe OpenAI is big. I'm going to make the case, Michelle, and if you want, you can challenge it. You can go, you can play devil's advocate. You can go with that because, that's what we're here. We're here to talk about this, right? I'm making the case that ChatGPT, that OpenAI is a significant company. And then when you began to customize GPTs, that took it to a whole new level. And then when you had the opportunity to open it up to a custom GPT store and allow other people to use your custom GPTs, the applications in my mind are endless. Yet the opportunity, let me finish my case though, Michelle, but the opportunity is that you can create so much and you're only limited by your imagination. I don't even know how to create a Google Doc. I'm sorry, I can use spreadsheet basic stuff, word processing. I'm still stuck in the 90s, 80s, 90s. But the reality is very complicated for me. And I was able to create, I think, 10 very cool custom GPTs for the workbooks, the Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat workbook, which launched this week. We launched the Start book with Mimi and the team here at Startup Club. And we embedded custom GPTs with every exercise in the Start book. So you can fill out the exercise on paper with pen, do it the traditional way, but then you can also go to directly to the GPT, and we branded each one with a domain name, such as personalityprofileai.com. If you want, you can test that one out, try that one, or play with that one, and check your disc profile. It'll convert to Myers Briggs, and then it'll also compare with celebrities. But we were able to put those together, and it did not take a lot of technical know-how. And this is just the beginning. This is the very beginning. When they begin to open the spigots up, the traffic's really going to flow. And secondly, when they begin to add new technology features, it's going to be a new world. In fact, I'm nicknamed it a few weeks ago. I don't know if anyone else has yet, and maybe I'm getting carried away. is this concept of Web 4.0, where this Web 4.0 is really AI talking to AI, and this is a whole new world. Maybe I sound crazy. I know a few of us on Clubhouse, we may be accused of that, right? But Michelle, what are your thoughts on this whole new land rush, custom
Yeah,
GPTs?
I guess I'm thinking of it a little bit differently. The way it's a way really for people, it's prompt engineering. And I think everybody would pretty much agree that prompt engineering, like, that's really kind of the secret sauce of how you really extract value from Chat GTP. It's a way for you to share your custom engineered prompts to the whole community. That I think is really awesome because there's some really smart people out there. I'm sure people smarter than me and people that have different expertise that you don't know that can just, like, my gosh, it's just like a massive time saving. I'm thinking of it like they're little apps, right? And I'm looking forward to seeing what people do. But there's things that I'd like to see about it, but I think it's an amazing extension of ChatGTP for sure. Colin. All right, Colin.
I agree with the prompt engineering. I was here talking with it was on mute. I agree with the prompt engineering, but I also think that the idea of proprietary data is very, very interesting, and I use that in a few ways already. One of them on a personal level, I simply took a contract, I created a custom GPT, took a contract, 188-page contract, simply uploaded the contract, and within 10 seconds I started beating the heck out of the contract, and it was amazing. But that I kept as a personal. And by the way, you can do that with custom GPTs. You can keep them personal. You can have a set up a link, or you can actually open them up on the store. But what I did on the for a number of the ones that I created, the custom GPTs I created, I had a proprietary data set. I used chapters in the book, sections from the book. Michelle, it was so bad. Like this, I don't even know if this is good or not. In some ways, it's so bad. It's so good and bad in the same way I'm saying it. I don't know which one I'm saying here because they're both equally as bad. But it's so crazy that I actually asked it to give me chapter 3 verbatim, and it wrote it out on the GPT. So it like literally was copying chapter 3. So if you upload your entire book to, you could literally say, okay, give me the entire thing. So you have to be sensitive to this. On a show last week when we did this on Clubhouse, somebody also mentioned to me the security features to make certain that you're not sharing your data with all of ChatGPT, with all of OpenAI. And that was an eye opener for me. I didn't realize that it was going out to the entire community when I uploaded my data set, but you can actually turn that off on your custom GPT. So there's a lot of things we'll cover today. I'm pretty excited about it. I think that this is a game changer. I could be the crazy one in the room, or I could be the prophet who whatever turns out to be true. 3 months, 4 months now, and the key moment that happened in May, 4 weeks ago. And I always like to look at the key moments. The key moment was when they opened it up to everyone. This is what they said, that we've opened it up to everyone, but you still have to get an ID on the OpenAI, and you were very limited. You've got about, I don't know, like 10 questions before it says you have to wait 3 hours, or or upgrade to a membership. They're gonna open that up. I have no doubt that they're gonna open that spigot. They won't. They eventually they probably won't even require user ID and password. And with APIs, you don't need those either. So I've no doubt they're gonna open it up, but it obviously is very heavy computing power that they would be unleashing on the when they do this. But we're talking about a revolution. We're talking about a whole new internet, Michelle.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that people can share it. One thing that I think is particularly interesting is the community is, going to figure out a way to vet these. So I already see ways that people can submit them to be popular, but I'm particularly interested in seeing, trending ones. Hopefully, there's a good, pickup from the community to help us kind of like weed through them because, you know, like you said, people can upload data. Like, that's a little scary. It's good and it's scary, right? Like, who knows how accurate or whatever. So I think we just have to be a little bit careful, Colin, that we're looking at something that's reputable, especially if it's based on somebody's third party unverified data. I don't know.
Okay, don't listen to Michelle. Let's have some fun here. Like I know, like when you, of course, Michelle, you're right. Like, when you look at any new change, any new technology, there's gonna be regulation, there's gonna be corruption, there's gonna be, you know, but doesn't mean we don't think about. And I know you're not saying this, Michelle, but we have to move forward. We're entrepreneurs, we're startups, we're founders, and we're trying to figure out ways to make money. We're trying to figure out ways to generate income, leads, whatever it is. And I think this could be a very good tool. And it is early on. Like I admit, we are early on. And what Jeffrey Moore talks about in Crossing the Chasm Inside the Tornado is that when you position yourself early on, then when the tornado comes, you're ready and well positioned to take advantage of the early majority. And I'd make a case right now that I'm being very technical, but the custom GPTs are actually in a chasm because of the login requirements and the high data costs that are used utilized when people use them, restricting free users the ability to access them continuously, and because of that, I think that there is an issue. But 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 don't assume that's going to stay like that forever. You want to assume that it's going to completely open up. It's an open wide network that AIs are talking to AI. Imagine a world where like Open Table, and that where I was talking to a friend about this. There's no such thing as even as APIs anymore. Like where Open Table is an AI, it just becomes an AI, and then you're talking to, let's say, Pi.ai, or you're talking to Siri, or you're talking to Alexa, and you're saying, "Hey Alexa, can you book me the best restaurant in Fort Lauderdale?" And Alexa is the AI. It goes talks to the other AI, OpenAI, and it literally connects. And that's what we're talking about. A whole new level of communication, of interaction, of an internet. And I think that custom GPTs are part of that equation. I think they're the early pieces of it. And it's a way for those who don't have dozens of programmers to create apps and see what kind of traction. Some of these custom GPTs have 6 million uses, and like they're really starting to take off. I will add before we start handing it around here is that OpenAI has talked about sharing revenue with higher used GPTs with creators as well. We've heard that before, right? We all been around. A few of us have been around Clubhouse so long enough to know that we're not going to necessarily trust that creators are going to be taken care of in a world like this. I mean, think about Facebook. All the stuff that's created on Facebook, 100% of the ad revenue goes to Facebook. It's uh, I'm not saying we should bank our strategy on that, and but I do think that you can find ways to monetize, just as you would on Facebook. You can find ways to monetize on custom GPTs, which is something that we're practicing, or we're working on right now. We're working on monetizing the book. We're working on creating exercises, getting people to use them, and then encouraging them to buy the book. So you can see there's a call to action, and we'll walk through some of those steps. I haven't written them down. I'm doing everything from my mind right now, but we'll walk through some of those techniques and tips and tricks that we've sort of picked up here at Startup Club. But if you're in the audience and you've got tips and tricks, we want to hear from you, because that's what this is all about. I will also add we are writing an article on this topic for Forbes, so we will use the content from this episode, this podcast, and this live show on Clubhouse for that Forbes article. So, and we will definitely quote you if you share a tip or trick, and or if you have a GPT. I'm not guaranteeing you'll get quoted in the article, but if you have a GPT, please promote it today. We want to play with it. We want to see what you created.
All right,
All
well, let's
right,
get to it.
right, Michelle. You want to do the
Yeah,
moderation today?
let's we've got three people on the stage here: Jason, Shadow, and Taku. I'm curious, of the folks that are here on the stage, who has used or done a custom GTP? Can you flash your mic if you have? All right, I see Shadow has, and Jason has. Awesome.
When you
All right,
say
well, that's
custom
awesome.
GPT, can you define, is you using it to do a custom, like try to figure out something? Is that what you mean by it?
Yeah, actually, you have to navigate to it in Chat GTP, and you set up. It's like a marketplace. It is a marketplace with, let's just say, canned or pre-engineered prompts. So it's like if you or an app. So you have to sign in and you navigate there. You can look up specific topics and see fully engineered custom GPTs that other people have set up. Like Colin set one up. Colin, what is the name of yours? I know it's about the personality. What is the actual
Okay,
name
so
of it? Let's explain
okay, so
this.
real use case. Okay, so y'all know, most of you know that we came out with a book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, #1 bestseller. Just won 2 more awards this week. We're at like 7 or 8 awards now for the year. Uh, Putting that aside, we came out with Mimi and the team came out with a workbook, and we have a lady who's getting her PhD in psychology, and so we created these really amazing exercises that were related to the start section of the book. Okay, so like you can, if you literally fill out this one, it's a physical copy. We don't have a digital copy. Sorry, it's only physical. um, and if you actually fill it out, one exercise at a time, it can help you uh, launch your startup. It takes you everything from coming up with the idea to ideas. Ideas are everywhere, which is, and then the actions, idea to action, and then it ends with a, like, probably the most extensive ultimate startup checklist, like literally dozens and dozens of things that you can do. So we we're putting this together, and literally we've been getting really excited about this custom GPTs, and we decided to put one in for each exercise. So I'm in the booklet right now, and I'm just looking through it, and the first one is coming up with your idea. Hold on. Coming up with your idea. So, how do you come up with a good idea? And literally, and what is your purpose, your why? And so the first one is startuppurposeai.com. So that's going to help you walk. So if you can walk through the booklet, but if you're stuck, you can go directly to startup.com. And then if you get page, its ideas are everywhere. So it's an idea generator, AI.com. So you don't even know your idea for a startup. You can go to ideageneratorai.com. All right, so it can help you with your purpose. Then if we want to pick a domain, you can go to domainideasai.com. And that's pretty interesting, the domain tool that we created. You can actually, you ask you a series of questions, it'll give you 25 domains. Then what it's going to do, it says it's going to go to GoDaddy, but we know it's cheating a little bit here. What it's doing is looking for live websites. And if they're not live, it's going to say it's available, because usually about of the 25 domains, usually about 21 are actually available. And then you can see where I'm going with this here. And so the next one is, does your idea reflect your values? And then there's an exercise called companyvaluesai.com. And then it keeps going on and on. So we've got like 10 of these. What's cool is that we started them early on enough. I did one for fun called Cruise Club. We own cruise.club. And so I went in, I created a cruise finder. And like, I'm being a little bit shoddy here in the work that I'm doing on the custom GPTs, because I got a 3.6, which, by the way, is actually not bad for apparently for custom GPTs. But you really want to spend the time and do them well, because you're being rated and reviewed on every one of these, and that will give you traffic. The other thing that gives you traffic is obviously uses. So, and the other thing too is that there's almost nobody with the term cruise. So if you type in, I haven't done it in a week or so, but if you go to ChatGPT, doing it right now, and you were to click on Explore GPT. So on the left-hand side, you're going to see something called Explore GPTs. As soon as you click on that, you're going to see a search box. Now, this is we'll call this the new Google that's just started. All right. I'm going to type in the word cruise and see where we're at. I'll see if I haven't looked at this in a week. All right. So we're number 3. We're at number 3. We've had 60 uses of this particular term. I did brand it with cruise.club. We own the domain name. So if you wanted to go to cruise.club directly, and if you click on it, you can actually see we have a 3.6 rating, five ratings, 60 conversations in the lifestyle category. And then, interesting enough, you can see the other GPTs below that I've done, and all of them are pretty new. Like, they were done over the last few days here, so they're not a lot of usage on a lot of these GPTs. Um, Personality profile has about 40 plus. Starting a business by Startup Club. That's interesting too. That GPT actually, I uploaded the first section of the book. This is the one where I got into trouble where it starts like reprinting the entire chapter and everything. But I uploaded the first section. If you go to startingabusinessai.com, you can ask any question, and it comes from the starting section of the book, and that'll help you get your business started as well. So that's what we're talking about here. We're talking about creating a GPT, branding it, and then making money from it. And we'll talk about some more tips and tricks around that, Michelle.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Jason had asked this question. So Jason, it was new functionality and it was very recent. I don't know if Colin said this, but you can decide to keep the custom GTP private, or you can publish it and think of it like it's almost like a mini app marketplace. Okay. And then, of course, Chat GTP is promoting ones that are popular as such. And like Colin said, you can also push people there as well. If it starts to get traction, which of course it will, I'd be shocked if it doesn't. People can do very specialized ones or very broad ones, and it could be a top of funnel kind of lead tool. I'm gonna say, right? Just like what Colin was describing. I know he's doing it because he wants to share it with people, but also at the end of his, it does talk about his book, and people could take a step further, and it could be a very top of funnel, nice marketing strategy. Jason.
Yes, I get it. In a sense, I hope we can. I hope we can work together sometime, Colin, because I I am applying for social assistance because I have the same similar purpose, but not the marketing power. So the book course that I created helps people discover their purpose. But for 2 years, I've only gotten 15 sales. So I guess you're showing me how to do it and not be on welfare. I'm done speaking.
No, and I think this could maybe bring it to life. Okay, so think of your content. Think of what you're doing, and create a custom GPT. And honestly, I swear it's so easy to do, Jason. Upload your material. Now, maybe you don't want to upload all of it. You have a chance to go upload it, but make certain we're going to make certain to turn it off. There's a feature that turns it off for sharing. Shadow, do you remember where that is on the app, on the ChatGPT? In case
It's
uh,
in the settings.
it's in the settings. I'm there right now. It's under security, the very bottom one.
Yeah,
No, it isn't. Is it? No.
I think it's under security, isn't it?
I thought it would be under security too.
Yeah,
Uh,
because
It's
I basically just you mean I can make my because I use
okay,
it, but I
I
didn't.
got
I
it.
keep mine private, I guess, so I can make it
Yeah,
public.
so
You're
it's under
saying?
data controls, Jason. It's under data controls. And under data controls, you go in there, it says improve the model for everyone. You want to turn that off because that's where what you're doing is you're giving your data to improve the model for everyone, which, I mean, under some circumstances that makes sense. But if you spend your life building something and it's proprietary, do you really want to give that all away? So I didn't know what the hell I was doing when I first started. I may have given away half the book, whatever. But I've now gone in and turned that off on my custom GPTs. So in your case, Jason, if you can take your data, you can upload it. It's very simple to do. It's just click upload. And by the way, even if you okay, here's the interesting thing. There's when you create a GPT, if you've never created one before, what's cool is it asks you there's two ways to create it. So first of all, when you click on Explore GPT and you have a paid membership, click on Create. And then you've got Create and Configure tab. If Configure is more direct, like you give it direct uh, uh, instructions, it'll come up back with a direct response. But if you know nothing, just click on Create. And the first question asks you, what would you like to make? And you simply start answering the questions. It'll keep asking, it'll create the logo for you instantly. And you can just add to it. And then when you want to get a little bit more specific, you can go into configure. And if you wanted to upload your courses or anything, you can go into upload files. And look, you could upload here and get 15 uses, right? But we're so early on. It's like the Big Bang Theory. When you come into something at the very, very beginning, if you position yourself and you keep making it better and better, and by the way, after you publish it, you can iterate over and over again, make it better and make it better, iterate. try to get feedback from people, and try to understand how you can make your GPT better. And never stop. And but again, the Big Bang Theory, if you get at the very beginning, you can see a huge benefit. Imagine getting at the beginning of Amazon, the beginning of Google, the beginning of we keep thinking, what if I could go back in time? Well, you know what? We're all back in time now. We all we all went through a time warp, and here we are again, the precipice of another huge potential sort of revolution of the internet, and nobody seems to know about it other than a few of us here on Clubhouse. A few of us crazy enough to think there could be something huge here. I mean, I think OpenAI is huge. I think ChatGPT is huge. I think AI is huge. I've been using custom GPTs. I use other people's custom GPTs all the time. I use a logo creator one that's there. I use them all the time because why do I want to spend 6 hours prompt engineering or 3 hours prompt engineering, as Michelle said? And then I also use them because there is proprietary data. It makes it unique and different, something I can access through the custom GPTs that I can't get access anywhere else. Yep. Image generation
Yeah,
has
and I
6
would
million.
say, there's look, especially on things that are more complicated, if you can get in there in the ones that are more popular, there's some crazy creative people that have spent a lot of time. We met a few actually here recently at a big conference we were at, setting some of these up. Like, I personally was just like floored as to the thought process and the extent of work that people had done. One gentleman that we ran into, he actually also runs a very big marketing conference. He's previously was one of the judges on Shark Tank, etc. He had set one up to basically really, like, seriously supplement his whole marketing department. We're talking about some of these are, people have spent hours pouring their subject matter expertise into a prompt and then making it available for other people. So, I think it's definitely worth getting in there and looking at it, especially for me, ones that have to do with like marketing or sales or branding. But like I said, the best ones are going to rise to the top because it's a community, voting and up, kind of upvoting it, kind of a situation. So it's worth looking at the ones that are trending and rising to the top, as well as in niche areas that you're just like, gosh, I just want to know more information. I'm just saying, just like, be careful if it's like facts or stats or something, just to double check things. Colin,
So
it
here's
looks
an
like you want to
example.
talk.
Here's an example. I just started playing with it. And just by the way, if you look at click exploring GPTs, one's called Presentation and Slides GPT, PowerPoints, PDFs. Okay. It's the number 4 position under productivity. And I'm sliding down it. Oh, interesting. It's got 3.8 stars, 500,000 uses, number 4 in productivity, and more by slidegpt.com. See how they're branding themselves? More by slidegpt.com. So they're actually, I'm going to see if I can do this for mine, because we do own, Mimi, we own startup gpts.ai. So I feel like we can link them all together under the name Startup GPTs AI. But that's interesting. But the name that they use for their GPT is slidesgpt.com. So what do? I go to slidesgpt.com. I check it out. Oh, that's pretty interesting. You can generate a complete PowerPoint presentation. And by the way, I did it within 10 seconds. And I typed in just guess what I typed in, Michelle? I typed in Toronto pre-construction because my son's he
Oh,
owns
perfect. Yeah.
torontopreconstruction.com. And it's got like a 25-page presentation, fully complete, on Toronto pre-construction. And of course, it's something you can start working with and start editing, all created for you, all free. And how did I hear about it? Oh, I heard about it on Custom GPTs. So when you create your GPT, we want to brand it. We want people to look at it, use it, and then go do something at the end of it. Whether it's buy something, check out this book on Amazon, or go to slidesgpt.com. We don't want to just create something. Of course, we want to create something great. We can always find a way to monetize it later. Okay, I understand that concept. But let's first start by just creating it, getting it going, and then think about how we're going to monetize it. Jason, are you on board yet?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm gonna check it out. I have my business plan online, so I've been using ChatGPT just to customize like emails to partners and potential clients because I basically just say, check out my plan at freedomacademy.com and write me a letter that I would send to an organization like, say, like Toronto Raptors to partnership and or to churches. And it's been amazing for that because it just writes the letter probably more simply than I would because I'm a little more complicated than everything. So yeah, but I haven't made anything public, so I understand. I'm going to check that out and be careful to make sure I change that switch so everybody doesn't get messed up.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, we saw one person at this conference we just mentioned. When he was building his, what he did is he put a lot of time, and it was marketing oriented, into first like developing what were the personas of, let's just say, the experts that would be behind, if this makes sense, the custom chat GTP experts. So one of the examples, I'm going to try to give you an example. You first might develop, okay, I want to have a recipe suggestion app that helps pair and give like full entertainment advice. Like I'm having a dinner party, let's just say. So what he did is he first developed, okay, I want you to create the personas for three chefs. One is like Anthony Bourdain, one is like Julia Childs, etc. Then what he did is he took those personas and had them as food critics develop recipes and like entertainment ideas and also debate each other about the merits or shortcomings, for example, of the plants. It was really super cool. It was very, very impressive that people are thinking this way. But I want to go to Shadows because Shadows, I know you're on top of this stuff, and I'm sure you have a lot of ideas. Like, I'm very interested to hear your thoughts on it and know if you've actually been able to use custom GTP Shadow.
I haven't used too many that others have made, but I've made about, I don't know, 9 or 10 of them for my own work that I'm doing. So I keep them private. Well, other than I shared one with my sister. Colin, I'm curious when you were saying that your GPT would produce the text of the book. Did you try throwing in "Do not quote the book, only answer questions"?
No, I didn't. And
Try it.
that's what I need to do. I know I look, this is like brand new. Like I learned about the security thing last week on the show. Like that's why I love this show, is I'm learning from that. So you think if I do that, that'll actually stop people from just reprinting the chapters?
Try it and test it. I've thrown in instructions like that into GPTs, given it restrictions on the parameters it can answer within.
All right, so say that again. I want to make sure that everybody got that. What is the instruction, Shadows?
So to stop it from just quoting the book back to the person, tell it to answer questions based on the book, but do not quote the book.
Okay, that's very interesting. Wow. Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of it, right? It's only limited to our imagination, right? That's like a good idea. I didn't even think of that, Shadows.
Well, it may work or it may not. But nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's funny hearing you talk about the guy with the dinner party and the chefs. I've done similar with a GPT that I have that I call the Wisdom Scholar, and I have a list of people in there that is to take on the persona, and I give it input and ask it to debate the input I give it, and then come up with a conclusion.
Yeah, that's awesome. right? So then your personas are debating each other. That's really cool.
It works out kind of interesting for me because it gives me more to think about when I go to write. I can see that input without chasing all over the web finding the
Right,
information.
right. And I'm sure to your point on that, and my concern at the beginning is I'm sure we could add instructions too, like every time you restate or, for example, give facts, please always quote the source, right? Like that's something I'm thinking that I personally would do, just so I know and I could go look back at the source, which I know Chat GTP is doing more of, and Perplexity is really good at that. But I found that very, it's invaluable for me personally because I oftentimes want to go look at the source.
Well, sometimes there's more information at the source than what you're asking about. Yeah.
Exactly. Some nugget you can get.
With when I do this with the Wisdom Scholar, I'm using authors that I'm familiar with. I've done a lot of reading their material. So when I see the debate going back and forth, I have a pretty good idea whether it's their voice or not.
All right, you got that, Colin?
That's
That's a
kind of
good tip for us.
Yeah,
that's
yeah, I
kind of
like
my
that.
fail safe.
I like that. So I'm doing some live technical support here with you, Shadows. So I went there and I wrote out, don't quote entire chapters. You can quote paragraphs, but not chapters. And then I went and tested, and it still quoted the entire chapter. So am I saying it wrong? Like, what should I be saying? Like, don't
I don't know
like,
that I would even allow it to do paragraphs.
do like don't even do so. Like, don't quote and like,
Don't.
but you want to get quotes from the book. That's the whole idea of having the book there, right?
Why don't? How about trying a word limit?
So, yeah, okay, I'll play with that. I'll play with that. But it is interesting. So these little rules that you got to learn and protect your IP, while at the same time you want your IP to help fuel sales or fuel more usage for your products and whatnot. It's interesting, but it's so easy to do. Like you don't need to know code. Like you don't have to be a coder. I took coding in college, by the way. I got a C plus. It was my worst mark. C minus, C plus. I don't know. It was C something. But it was Thursday night every night, sorry, yeah, it was Thursday night, and then Friday we'd had pub or something like that. I can't. No, Thursday night we had pub night. So that was right. And so class was Friday mornings, and then I'd always be scrambling Thursday night. But honestly, it was a horrible. I was horrible at programming. I don't know why they would make somebody in marketing and business, University of Toronto. They're really technical. And anyway, this is nothing like that. This is all you have to do is understand. There's a little bit of prompt engineering, like you have to understand how to communicate. So I'm having a little bit of difficulty now communicating a command. So you have to really understand that a little bit. But you
Where
play
did you
around
put
with it,
that?
you should get it.
Where did you put the command? By the way,
I put at the bottom the instructions.
don't put it at the top.
Yeah, I'll try that one out
Give it
too.
priority.
So priority. So whatever you do, do not. I might even say whatever you do. See, I'm actually typing that. Whatever you
I've
do, do
had,
not
I've actually
allow.
done take note in capitals and then colon and then the instruction.
All right, I'm gonna try it. I'll keep playing with it. We'll keep you updated
Have
on
fun.
this. And so, what are some of the GPTs? You talked about using them for your personal, and we didn't really get into that a lot. I'm excited about the store and owning the store. Oh, and before I move on, I don't want to forget this point. Even if you're not ready to start the store, start it now. I'll tell you why. There's a very good chance that ChatGPT will start charging for this. Right now, everything's free. It's in beta. It's clunky. It's not working. You sort of want to establish yourself, and you might get grandfathered in. Who knows? It doesn't cost you anything. It takes 5 minutes to do. If you have a paid membership and think you'll ever use a custom GPT, I'd recommend do it. But you, Shadow, what are some of the things that you're using it for? You said you did about 10 for yourself.
Well, there's the Wisdom Scholar, and there's two versions of that one. One's a variation on the other one. One is meant to be general information, and the other one gets into more, well, biblical stuff. Um, I did one a week or so ago where I can take a topic, and by the time I get through with it, I have a library of titles on various angles on how to approach that topic so that I could write basically a content library based on the topic. What else have I got there? It's been a while since I looked at them all. Well, of course, prompts for my my images every day. I've got it so that it'll generate them, and I've got it so it'll analyze them and rank them. That's a, that's a fairly good cross section of what I've got there.
All right. Interesting. I've used it. So I used to take, and I'm sure a few of you may have done this. Is you cut and paste documents into the into ChatGPT. Uh, if you have a large document like a contract, I just had an 188 page contract, and instead of cutting and pasted it, I created a custom GPT only to be used by myself. And in that custom GPT, I uploaded the entire contract. It took up all of like 30 seconds. Somehow it uploads very quickly. I don't understand how, but it does. The entire contract, and then I went back into the GPT and I started asking it questions, and it was amazing. It was like it knew every single detail of this contract. So if you have larger files and you want to do a personal GPT, and you want to just simply upload those files to the custom GPT or create one, that's the way to do it. I think that's a lot faster. I used to cut and paste, but imagine cutting and pasting for me a 188 page document. It's clunky and it sometimes doesn't work. And just by simply uploading documents was a lot easier. There is a 100,000 character limit as of about 2 weeks ago. I don't know if they've upped it yet, but there's a 100,000 character limit. So when I was doing my book, uploading sections from my book, I had to break it into 10 sections and then I uploaded each section. So there is even if and by the way, I think you can do up to 10 100,000 character limit files. So we're still talking about pretty substantive files or data sources you can pull from. It's a whole new world, isn't it? And I see Taku has been very preoccupied by the phone there. But Michelle, how do you think you could use this for Meowingtons or paw.com? I'm just curious. Like I did
Honestly,
one
I
for
think I
dog
can use
breeds.
it. Yeah, no, I think I can use it for a lot of things. For me, I'm very like interested in getting more time to see what other people have done that are experts that I could just leverage their prompts and their expertise and their honing. But sure, I mean, I could use it myself as well. Like I'm very like as I understand it, reading about it, like yeah, you could use the API, right, and build this the same way, but this is like so accessible and available to anyone. And even if I was going to use an API and do my thing like through a website, through an interface, like why wouldn't you do this? Like you could test out your concept so fast and get feedback. Like it's really just amazing, and I'm really looking forward to seeing brands, especially and subject matter experts, start to publish things that I have access to. um, I think it's just like I think it's like chat gtp on steroids for sure, Colin.
Yeah, it's like niche. It's like you can do niches and stuff like that. So shadows, just keep the drama going here. If they did actually, it did take my command this time, and when I asked it to write the chapter 3, it did a summary of the chapter. It did actually a really nice summary and point form of the chapter.
That's better
So
than
yeah,
giving away your
so
text.
and I think you got probably you mentioned something there. Just try it. Like just try it. It's not gonna break the internet. You're not gonna. You can always go back and delete it, right? It doesn't like that's the thing about in the past you'd do something, and you'd have to do product testing, and you might do a new version once a quarter, and it would just well, if you go way back, you had CD-ROMs, and like when you did a piece of software, change anything. Here, you can just change it on the fly. It's a bit like after doing a post and you go back and edit it, but you got more than an hour to edit it. So just play with it. That's sort of the lesson I learned here from Shadows.
So
Uh,
something else that I do is I will open just a regular chat, and I'll put the prompt in and I'll play with it. And if I make changes in that, eventually I'll say to ChatGPT, take a look at the original prompt and take a look at the changes that I've added, and tell me exactly how that should be stated. And it'll give you the actual prompt, and then you can go play with that. I've sometimes used 2 or 3 chats just to get what exactly I want, and then I go and make the custom one.
oh, I like that. Yeah. And you don't have to publish it either. You can there's a way you can play with it right on the right hand side. Just just to test it back and forth and do your own testing, and then you can choose to publish it. I don't really like if I publish it. It's like who's going to look at it anyway, or it's not like you're going to blow it right away. I think you have time to fix it even if you do publish it. But if you're in the audience, this is going to be a last call. We're going to close it down in 11 minutes. If you're in the audience and you have played with custom GPT or you have a question from anyone here on the stage, please raise your hand, come on stage. We're going to close off the hand raising in about 2 minutes. But really, if you do have a tip or trick, something that that you've done that actually makes a difference with your GPT, we would love to hear from you. One of the things that I've been doing a lot, we picked out, I can't remember who told me this one. I wish I could remember. It was at the conference, Michelle, that or it was no, it was I think it was in it was in a webinar,
Uh huh.
and he said that when you because people hate prose, they hate these long sort of paragraphs and whatnot. He says make each make each paragraph a sentence, and then it becomes very staccato, your responses. The other thing that I do on the GPTs is I like to do multiple choice questions. Now this is a little bit more intensive for the free users, I know that, but I like to do multiple choice so they don't have to write out the answers. It's just a lot easier to press A, B, C, or D. If I'm doing the personality profile AI.com, I simply choose A, B, C, or D, and there's only 12 questions. uh, and that's one of the things. That's one of the things I like to do. The other thing I like to do is have descending order of questions. So I give it the command of, let's say, ask 12 questions and number them and do it in descending order, so that the person who's taking the test knows once I get down to question 1, then I'm done. Now I will add a caveat here that sometimes the AI isn't ready to produce the work, and I've gone from 12 to 1, and then it goes to 2, 3, 4, and then it gets that starts going back in the reverse. It's actually pretty funny to see it do that, but generally, numbering it backwards works pretty well. The other thing that is that when you do give the results, and I do with the case of the personality profile AI.com, and it's really a fun personality profile, by the way, is it'll give you the disc results, and I convert it to Myers Briggs as well. And then on top of that, I do what I call a UMod. And this is a minor major. We have this in the book. We want to surprise our customers. We want them to be, unexpected moments of delight. A UMod, unexpected moments of delight. And the most important thing here is unexpected. So if you tell them in advance, it's not an unexpected. But if you don't tell them in advance, it's sort of like, oh, that's really cool. That was really fun. So what I like to do is add something extra at the very end of the custom GPT. So for instance, a lot of times I'll say, well, with the personality profile, what are 3 other celebrities that have similar personality to me? So right now, if you go to personalityprofileai.com, you answer the 12 questions. It's going to give you a disc profile. It's going to give you a Myers-Briggs, and then it's also going to compare you with other celebrities as well. So give it a shot, and if you do it, if you like it, give me a good rating. If you don't like it, just move along. Anyway, I'm teasing,
Or
but that's
keep
another
doing it
example.
until you get the answer you want, right,
Yeah,
Colin?
exactly.
It's a lot of fun, and it's, I would say, have your friends and coworkers do it too. Like that's where it's really valuable. Um, I think we should maybe talk about that the next time we talk about this too, together as a live kind of use case, Colin.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I want to keep coming back to this one, and I think it's going to open up more. I think we're going to see as a land rush. I think you position yourself now. It's the beginning of a moment where you can position yourself so you can succeed going forward. It's a Big Bang Theory. Let me just I'm just gonna. A lot of these are related to the book, just so you know. But we have one called Company Core Values. It creates 4 to 6 value statements for your company. I think it's one of the best engines out there. We branded it companyvaluesai.com. You'll notice I've been using that sort of technique, sort of a two-word.com, AI.com, and it's surprising how many are available. I'm not paying a premium for these names. And I think that's the second component to the land rush is that this idea that if you are going to have a custom GPT and you want to build it over time, grab the domain name now because it's not going to be available a year from now. right? Customvaluesai.com was available. Personalityprofileai.com was available. That's the second one. I did domaincreatorai.com if you want to create a domain name. I did idea generator. I thought that was a really good one. Ideageneratorai.com, and that's for generating ideas. Um, we have something called scalability in the book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. So we have scaleratingai.com. We have a defense, building a defensible moat. So it's called moatbuilderai.com. That's actually that topic is a new Forbes article that will come out in the next month or two. Then we have the startuppurposeai.com. I have what is the best dog breed for me? I didn't do a domain for that. I was trying to think about paw.com. Like, how can we start generating like these fun tools for paw.com? Startup business plan, and that is startplanai.com. This is one where we've been working. We have a couple AI people at Startup Club, and we're working to develop AI tools. And one of the ones that we have is businessplanai.com. But maybe there's a way that custom GPTs will play a role in there. Right now, we've set it up so that it'll create a 4 sticky note business plan, and then we'll also give you the outline for an investor plan. And that's called startplanai.com. We will have a website very soon, probably next week. It's going to be called startupgpt.ai. It's going to be on startup.club as a tab, and it's going to list all of these GPTs. And by the way, if you do a GPT and it helps startups, we would love to post it on startupgpt.ai. We really want to find a way that we can propagate that. I did another fun one here for baby names. Come up with the next baby name finder, and then I have cruise finder as well for cruise.club, and then I have starting a business. So startingabusinessai.com, and that one really is all about asking questions about the book. And I want to start this, I want to do that, how do I get a trademark, what do I do this, all those types of questions that come from the book, answers from the book. Instead of reading the book, you can go directly there. Although, Michelle, I do recommend people pick up a copy of the book this week. We won an interesting final. We're finalists for nonfiction for the Indie Book Awards, and we were finalists for the interior design.
Yay!
Those of you who have had a copy of the book, you'll see that it is really a work of art. Michelle was heavily involved in the creation of a lot of that art. Forbes Books was heavily involved. The team here, we wanted to make this book as simple as possible. ADHD friendly, 78 chapters. It's something that you can pick up and just flip through really, really quickly. You don't need a chat GPT. You don't need to go to startingabusinessai.com, although that's fun too if you just have a question about anything in particular in business or startups. Um, but the book itself won a couple more awards this week. It gives out, I think, 7 or 8 badges now, including gold medal for the number one entrepreneurship book of the year for the American Legacy Book Awards, which is pretty cool. All right, thank you very much, Michelle. Any last thoughts, or Shadows? Any last thoughts?
No, I love this topic. You know, I'm I just wish everyone could like say if they've heard of this, but this is kind of breaking news, and we strongly suggest that you get in there and start playing around with it and see what it has to offer. It really is making Chat GTP, to the next level of accessibility, especially if you're using other experts or just like saving time and creating your own. Just think about that. You don't have to keep typing it in and trying it again. Like it's an amazing next revision of this platform. And I have read that they are going to start paying creators. So it'd be very interesting to see where they take this for sure.
Yeah, I shouldn't be so negative just because creators have
No,
been
they're
screwed in the
going to,
past, right?
Colin. I'm
With
telling you,
other
they are.
platforms.
I believe they are. I'm a
And they said
believer.
they're going to pay creators. We're talking specifically about custom GPTs here.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
what we're
that's what they're
talking
talking
about.
about. So if you create a custom GPT, it gets a lot of traffic. They're interested in somehow providing compensation. I have no doubt they'll begin to eventually add advertising to it, and maybe there's an advertising share. or something like that. And I also think of proprietary data if you have that proprietary data as well. Well, you've been listening to Serial Entrepreneur Secrets Revealed, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. I know it's the name of the book, it's the name of the show, it's the name of the podcast, it's the name of the YouTube. We're starting to get a lot of traction on YouTube, by the way. Over 30,000 members. If you aren't following the YouTube channel, you should probably go there. It's Startup Club. I know it's going to be tricky to find, though, the YouTube channel, Mimi. I don't know, is there a better way of saying it? Just go to YouTube and search for Startup Club, because there's a lot of startup clubs. Is there a better way, Mimi, to saying that? Like finding it? Can't hear you. I think your mute or microphone is off or something like that. But anyway, check it out on YouTube. Startup Club. The last video we came out with had almost 12,000 views, and that was on this topic. So we know this topic's hot. It's on, and that video you can see right at startup.club. I believe it's right on the front page of startup.club right now, or it's definitely around there. Yeah, it's on the very front page. How to use Chat GPT to create a custom how to use ChatGPT to create a custom GPT, brand it and monetize it. An OpenAI tutorial 2024. It's only 5 minutes long. We've had almost 12,000 views on that video. So we're starting to get a lot of traction outside of Clubhouse. We want to continue to build this club outside of Clubhouse. Clubhouse has been great to us. It's been a great community. Unfortunately, it's had its issues. So we need to learn to find a way to survive, become an interplanetary species, interplanetary platform company, right, Shadows? And Startup Club is going to do that. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next Friday, 2 o'clock Eastern, on this show. Thanks again for everyone for joining.